Opa, I have been wanting to have a sit-down conversation with you. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for the community. This just came out of nowhere, so I appreciate you taking the time to come in and just have a little conversation. I'm so glad that you're in here. How you doing, man?
I don't know. I'm very confused.
Well, I'm confused as well. What's going on here with the thought emojis?
So I'm gonna be fully honest here. I have no clue. I just saw a bunch of people tweet them, and then I tweeted them as well. So
yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if some stuff might be going on or if there's literally nothing happening. But the thought emojis are making me think. So
you can ask some questions, I guess.
Are you busy right now? Very busy.
Yes, very busy. I would say I have been busy for some time now.
Right. Okay.
That's good.
That's good news, yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, this is not even Jailbreak related at all, but TrollStore 2 has been amazing so far, and I've always wanted to know the logistics behind how that came to be.
Yeah, I mean, TrollStore 2 basically was not fully my work. Like, it was mainly Alfie who wrote the core trust bug, basically. At some point it worked, so I basically just integrated it, and then we had TrollStore 2 in like 3 days or something.
That is insanity. Thank you guys both for doing that. The fact that it took you guys like days to do it, and then you're like, oh, here you go. Here's TrollStore 2.
I guess I didn't think it was still possible, but due to like, I guess I could have known because it worked on Pale Rain. Yeah, I mean, I said from the beginning that install method-wise it's going to suck, and I think that was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I only want a request from you, if that's possible. Please do not release anything on Valentine's Day. Like I said before, there'll be a lot of girls sitting down at restaurant tables alone, and the guys trying to.
I
will keep that in mind.
Okay, thank you.
Something completely unrelated. Curious to get your take on the Vision Pro and like Vision OS from the standpoint of someone that makes jailbreaks and stuff. Do you think you'd ever see a situation in where Vision OS and Vision Pro, like it would ever make sense for a jailbreak for a platform like that? I'm curious to know your take on that.
So I guess, personally speaking, I can't see myself even owning a $3,500 device.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
It's not even available in my country, and I'm not going to import it, But I mean, I also have no clue about like what OS it runs or how locked down it is. I hoped it was going to be more like macOS, but it doesn't seem to be with it running iPad apps and stuff like that. So I think, I mean, if jailbreaks continue to be a thing, then I think we will one day see a Vision OS jailbreak, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested because, yeah, I mean, I do definitely agree with you as well. Definitely have to, at the very least, demo it, even if you're not going to buy it. Because I demoed it at a US Apple store, and it is pretty wild. I mean, in concept, I think the tech could be there for some very interesting things down the road at some point. In its current state, the price needs to come down, needs to get less heavy. There's a lot of issues that it has right now, but I do think that like Vision OS itself, once there's several more generations of various different pieces of hardware, I feel like Vision OS itself could definitely be the future at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably demo it, yeah. But for now, I don't even see it coming to Germany anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as it gets cheaper and more available and there's, more generations down the line, several years from now, I was kind of curious of like what that would look like and whether or not that would be something that would be beneficial towards the wide scale community. Because, obviously there were Apple TV jailbreaks that existed before. I think there was talk a while back of something for watchOS happening, and that never really wound up panning out. So anytime there's like new product categories, new products that Apple gets into, it always makes me wonder, like, would there ever be a use case for a jailbreak for that?
I'm just curious. Did you ever talk to the old developers, or did you have any connections with them, like from the before times?
Yeah, I mean, I started jailbreaking in the iOS 9 days. I do have contacts to a few people that work in the same company as me. I had Snow, for example, as my manager, basically.
Oh, wow. That's a name from a while ago.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, but besides that, not really all that much.
A lot of developers seem to be getting into the community from years ago in terms of like just looking at security research more from the standpoint of maybe there was a time when they were focusing more on tweaks specifically, and then they're like, oh, I kind of want to try the security researching thing out, and then all of a sudden, like Jailbreak shit, they're just like, all right, I'm going to put a jailbreak out, and then now they're known as like the jailbreak developer. But it is funny because, you know, but obviously before that you were, you know, things like Choicey, things like Crane, you know, various other projects that you've done, you know, things like TrollStore. You're not, you know, the jailbreak guy, but it's like now you make a jailbreak and everyone's like, when ETA, you know, now everyone knows you as the jailbreak guy. So it's funny. I wonder how that ends up happening, how it's like a lot of these tweak developers just say, you know what, I'll try out security researching. Let me take a look into it.
Yeah, I would say for me it was like I always wanted to get into it, was always so busy with Crane and the other projects that I have been developing, and in 2022 there weren't any jailbreaks anymore, so I just basically got into it that way. But I started pretty small, and then somehow I actually got to the point where I can write a jailbreak.
Wow.
Yeah.
So thank you, 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild to see like everything you've done and everything you've accomplished, like from the standpoint of dopamine and everything like that. I mean, it is pretty wild to me. You took on dopamine with the whole Fugu 15 Max stuff, and I remember, you know, the development cycle of that and how it felt like, you know, you were grinding on that. You were putting out stuff on GitHub with Fugu 15 Max and just saying, I'm working on it, I'm working through it, and very obviously very inspiring and encouraging that you've been able to do everything that you've been able to do with dopamine in seemingly, I mean, such a short amount of time. ETA kids will sit here and criticize you for not going as fast as possible, but like considering that dopamine is basically like your first foray into like an actual big jailbreak, I mean, it's pretty wild to me that you were able to do all this. So I mean, it's you know, as I've said before, huge thanks from I imagine for most people in the community. I think I speak for most people when I say huge thanks to you for everything that you've done for the community, and you know, I very much appreciate you coming in here. And I mean, I guess maybe we could do if you're comfortable and you're around for a bit longer. I guess maybe we could do some potential Q&A stuff potentially with some other speakers. Obviously, we're going to shy away from any when ETA questions. That's not something that we can really that we can really get into right
I
now.
wish
Obviously,
I wish I could answer that. Right now there's no ETA, like not even in my head.
absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
That
do we really think that people know what's behind the jailbreak, what the work that has to be done? I don't think we get the full extent of it. So when asking about ETAs, it's like reading the future. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's a huge amount of work, isn't it? And yeah, I wouldn't ask for that. I never asked for it from all the jailbreaks. I had them all since the beginning, and I never asked for an ETA because I realized it's a lot of work. So yeah, from me, thank you for what you're doing, and yeah, just keep doing it relaxed and you know, forget about the ETAs because we're gonna wait for it anyway.
yeah, that's the other thing I guess we should probably talk about as well is, you know, seemingly it kind of you had said as though, and I definitely resonated with this and said, I mean, this is the best possible thing to happen is when you said, I'm gonna keep working on it regardless of what anyone says, and you know, I'm gonna take my time on it. I'm not gonna rush it. It's if it's gonna get done, it's gonna get done right. And I really respect that, and I appreciate that you want to take the time to iron out any potential issues and fix everything that you possibly can and make it sort of as seamless as possible. When it's ready to go out and you're ready to ship it, it's going to be very stable. And you know, I'm very much looking forward to it. Would it be, you know, an overstatement to say a majority of Dopamine 2 is a huge like rewrite from what Dopamine was?
So what I would say is it's not a rewrite. There are some components that have been rewritten, but overall it's more of like so the app is basically the biggest change, because before it was like hard coded to use like the Fugu 15 vulnerabilities and stuff like that, but now it's like a little less hard coded, so it should allow it to be easier to update in the future.
Interesting.
But that's why we were talking about like half an hour ago, that it takes a while, because you were talking like a few weeks ago or a few months ago that you wanted to build something that can benefit the future jailbreaks, to to set the basis of something that they will allow us to they will make it easier somehow. I didn't understand the full extent because I'm not a developer, but that was my feeling, that you wanted to build something, and that's why you didn't want to split up in lots of different architectures and so yeah, we were just talking about that. So
Yeah, I mean, the architectures are something separate. Like, that's just an issue that came up with the release of root height, and it will also continue to be an issue, even if, like, I've heard people here say that when Dopamine 2 comes out, like Bootstrap wouldn't be relevant anymore. That is a little true for the versions that Dopamine supports. Like, there's still going to be a root height jailbreak again, like using Dopamine, probably. So it's still relevant, basically, because people want an undetectable jailbreak, apparently.
Right. So that's a good point to bring up as well, because for a lot of people that had sort of seen that whole thing on Twitter, I guess the question is that we know that the implementation is kind of, from things that you've said, from things that other developers have said, the implementation could definitely have been implemented better. I mean, I'm not a developer, but from things that you've said, from things that other developers have said, it's not exactly the cleanest implementation.
There's two things to this. Like, first of all, I would say it's the jailbreak itself, like the root-height dopamine jailbreak.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is going to be a less predictable than dopamine itself, because it has to use certain different techniques that are less detectable, but basically from a programming standpoint, less predictable. So that's like the main reason why dopamine can't just take root height or something like that. And secondly, there's like the architecture thing, but that's separate. Like, that's just one dude making a semi-intelligent decision, and despite everyone else like telling him not to, but that should get resolved, hopefully. Like, that's also what Lepoud is about, that I published today.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. One of the things that I was thinking of that I just had thought of was, I wonder, so when you guys were working on TrollStore 2, I mean, obviously we saw what happened with serotonin, what happened with the bootstrap, what happened with all this stuff. Was this anything that you saw coming from a standpoint of like, oh, semi jailbreaks, TrollStore 2 is very powerful. This could enable some very interesting things potentially. Is that anything that you saw happening, or was it as much of a surprise to you as it was for us?
So, I mean, TrollStore 2 in this regard is not more powerful than TrollStore 1, and no one did something like this for TrollStore 1, so it was like hard to predict, I guess. That's actually a very difficult question. Like, I don't think I saw this coming, but like I saw it coming before it was public, basically, because I did get like insights into development of the techniques used in like serotonin and stuff like that.
Right. One of the other questions I think, and obviously this is going to be probably one of the most popular, if someone's using Bootstrap stuff, like if they want to migrate over from Bootstrap to Dopamine, and this is a question that I get a lot too, between different versions. And I always say, like, best possible thing to do when you're migrating between jailbreaks most of the time is just to uninstall whatever you're using first and to, install whatever new thing that you want to go to. A lot of times I feel like that's probably the safest bet in terms of logistically doing it. But I'm curious, in terms of the way that would maybe work or that would maybe go down, is there any sort of seamless way to switch over and to migrate over once Dopamine 2 is ready?
So Bootstrap, I don't know. Like, So I can tell you a bit what I did yesterday. Yesterday, I changed the path that Dopamine stores the files in, so that if you were to update to Dopamine 2.0, it would like move the Bootstrap and convert it to Dopamine 2.0. And that would in turn mean that if you like jailbreak with another jailbreak tool, like there are some available, I think, for like Jailbreak. When you jailbreak with those, then you would get a different Bootstrap than Dopamine, basically. But Bootstrap, like, it's confused that it's called Bootstrap because it's like an app and not a Bootstrap. But it won't be seamless. Like you will just get a new like environment basically if you jailbreak with Dopamine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Alfie is also in here as well.
Hello?
Yes, there you go. What's up, man?
I just wanted to ask, if TrollStore 2 is so good, is TrollStore 3 planned?
Well, I don't know. We're talking to you guys, so you tell me.
It's not planned on my end.
I mean, if there's a bug, but otherwise, who knows?
You guys are killing me because I first saw this stuff on Twitter and I was like, is something about to happen? Like, are you guys messing with me and something's like about to drop like live while I'm doing this? And I thought initially that's what it was, but
that was that was like the answer to that is in my second tweet.
Right. I figured that out when you said no. But yeah, but I mean, believe it or not, that's happened. So, okay, I will say as well, so it's not every day that you get to talk to the guys. So like I said, I appreciate you guys both of you guys coming in here. This was something I had talked about earlier on. And, you know, obviously, however you want to do it, you guys are the guys. So however you want to do it is however you want to do it. But one of the things that I remembered, you know, sort of reminiscing back in the day is when Uncover was coming out and there was sort of, I could do like release parties and it was fun because, you know, the developers at the time, Pwn and other developers internally would be teasing, saying that they have it and saying Cydia is running. And then we would get follow up, you know, teases throughout the day on Twitter. And there would be sort of, it was kind of like this sort of release party that you could follow along with. And there was a countdown timer and it made you feel like you could like, you know, you could collectively experience it as a community. So I don't know if that's something that is possible, but I guess what I'm trying to pitch is the potential possibility of whenever this thing is ready, you maybe doing some sort of community-based event and getting everyone to like experience it together, just because it's so fun when that stuff happened years ago. It was so awesome when that stuff happened.
I don't know. I can't say much.
I loved when
it's the build up, isn't it? The build up to it, excitement and all of that.
Yeah, it's the build up, but I think it's also like I said, experiencing it together. Opa, if you want to talk a little bit about the thing that you just put out on GitHub, you talked a little bit about that before, but it's the new, I guess, library that you are working on for Dopamine.
So libroot is basically just standardized APIs for like what jailbreak considers the jailbreak root path, like the one used in rootless jailbreaks. It just abstracts that away from third-party packages. Roothide, for example, could have like the jailbreak root in like var something, and Dopamine would have it in private preboot, and the same package could work on both. It would allow Roothide to just use normal rootless packages once they are updated to use libroot.
Interesting. Another random question I thought of, and I'm sure these days, like we said, you're very busy. You're very busy with other matters. But I'm wondering, do you think there's any? Because I know you do still maintain some of your tweaks, Choicey and Crane. Do you think there's a time when you decide that you maybe want to develop other tweaks, other like tweak ideas, or you're kind of just going to maintain a lot of the stuff that you already have made?
I don't think I will do a new tweak like at any point in the future. At least I can think of. At least I don't plan on doing it.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. There are definitely other people that I know want to definitely have some questions, and I guess we'll open the floor for some of that. You know, let some people come in here now. I wanna say this. No when ETA stuff about dopamine, because it's not even, I mean, Opa even mentioned it and said, I wish I could give you an ETA. I don't even really know when it's going to be ready. Dopamine unauthorized. So it's okay. I guess they're getting the website ready. lkit.space/dopamine/2.0. So it's not out yet, but it must be a placeholder. Seems as though it's a play. Okay. Opa, what's up? So I don't know what just happened, but several people just tweeted the lkit.space/dopamine/2.0. I don't know if that was intended or not, but
who knows? It does say unauthorized. So there's something I want to share. Dopamine is in a mystery state at the moment, where it will be dropped instantly when I think it's ready, but I don't know when that is. I can't tell you that much. It's not going to be today, and it's also not going to be tomorrow. But also the work on my part is not done. So just to keep that in mind.
It's coming when it's coming.
And yeah, there's a lot of people trolling, but what I said is the truth.
So, Opa, I was just wondering, I heard you say you got started in iOS 9 days. What software did you familiarize yourself with, particularly like disassembler? Was IDA Pro or Binary Ninja, Jidra? I mean, particularly what do you use when, doing things like disassembly and looking into these vulnerabilities?
So, I mean, I got familiar with like IDA Pro and reverse engineering through tweak development. And I would say at some point I just dragged the kernel into it. And that's the story.
You're dropping the entire iOS kernel into IDA Pro?
Yeah.
Wow.
Why not?
Well, I mean, I've heard of other people where they would like try to separate, I guess, the catch. If they wanted to fuzz a specific component like IOKit or something, then they weren't having to look at the entire iOS kernel. They could really focus in on specific components.
Yeah, that's totally something you can do. I never thought about it. Like, I also never fussed anything or looked at anything specifically. I always like need the full picture and follow all the function calls. And you can't really do that when you only like load like one text or something.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Kernel extension. Got you.
Dora 2 iOS, what's up? How you doing?
Opa, when ADA Dopamine 2.0?
ETA this year.
All right, there you go. 2024. There you go. ETA 2024. You're a rock star. That's like GTA. The jailbreak is so hyped that you could just say release year 2024 and that's enough. Yeah, okay. So it went from saying unauthorized to now there's a troll face.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I assume things are subject to change, and we'll see how you feel certainly after the release of Dopamine 2. But I'm wondering, I remember you saying something in terms of kind of wanting to keep going in the community to a certain extent, at least until you're able to get your 15 Pro jailbroken. I think I remember you saying something like that to that extent. So, I mean, I know it's very early on, but at this point now, do you think that's still kind of the plan?
You have to keep in mind it's on 17.0. So technically, when we get like a kernel exploit or something like that, then something like serotonin could work. And it could even be extended to be like not a full jailbreak, but like it would come pretty close, at least for the end user. I don't see myself working on that, but like if there's like other people doing some stuff, I could see myself like helping them or something like that.
Interesting.
I do have a question.
Yeah, what's up, Liddell?
So, if Apple's ever approaches you with like an offer to, join their company, would you take the deal? I mean,
What I would say is I can only answer based on my current situation. And my current situation is that I'm already employed and I'm pretty happy where I'm employed. So
okay, that's good. But I know how Apple is. They probably persuade you with like millions or see if you can, or buy your contract out or whatever the situation is. I know how Apple is. So when you saying that, you just basically saying you're happy and like no amount of money would, persuade you to leave your current job.
I mean, you know, like money is still a relevant factor.
I know.
They're going to like offer me like millions or whatever, I wouldn't refuse it. But at the same time, I don't think they would. Like, you have to keep in mind, I'm not doing the impossible. I'm just taking what other people publish and making a jailbreak out of it, which is also impressive, but it's not as impressive as like finding all the bugs yourself, like Linus, for example, did.
Right. I
So
guess that's the difference. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so my original question is, have you talked to Xena and Linus before Linus got hired by Apple, but have you ever talked to any one of those and like bounce back ideas of a future
yeah.
jail
So
that?
Xena, I mean, I've been in contact with since I think 2022, and we were also bouncing ideas back and forth. I also tried like making him improve like the rootless situation of his jailbreak. Although that was like just the stuff where you could install iPhone OS 64 packages sorta on Cena without everything breaking, like on version 1, not actual rootless one. Linus, I've met a few times, 2 times, one time on for OneCon. And yeah, I knew about the Apple thing way in advance, that it was like on the table.
Now the website is updated to say ETA when.
Oh, is there any Swift code in Dopamine 2.0?
That's a good question. So there's like minuscule amount of Swift in like the app, I think. Like it's just for some blur effect or something, but I'm not even sure if it's in, but that was discussed. And
Okay.
there's iDownload D, which uses iDownload, which is written in Swift. So iDownload D is also written in Swift.
This was something interesting as well. There was a little bit of teasing going on, and then we kind of sort of put 2 and 2 together, and we could, sort of assume that obviously Dopamine was going through some sort of internal testing. Now, obviously, we all know that internal testing is very, very different from it being ready to like go and it being ready to release. I am sure that there's a lot more that probably needs to be worked out, before you're probably comfortable with shipping it out. But I'm curious, was that did you know about these guys doing some of these teases?
No comment.
No comment. Okay.
Out of every jailbreak there ever been, which one was your all-time favorite? I grew up on like the Green Poison days or Red Snow and all that. So, what was your favorite?
That's a good question.
That's I mean, I can tell you what wasn't my favorite. Electra was not my favorite.
You didn't like Electra? Oh man, that was,
I mean, at
iOS
least the
11,
first,
right?
yeah,
Oh,
at least the
okay,
first
yeah.
version that released for like
Yeah, the first version was kind
11.1.2.
of, yeah.
Yeah, that was bad, but was later rectified. I mean, I used Pangu 933, I used Yalo 102, I used Electra, I used Chimera, I used Uncover, I used Tawin, I used Dopamine.
What was your first thing you ever jailbreak? Was it an iPod Touch? And
The very first thing was an iPod Touch 4 on 16.1.6 with POSIX Spawn. But that wasn't my main device at the time. It was just I was waiting on a jailbreak for iOS 9 and like wanted to explore what a jailbreak was like. And then I found that old device and jailbroke that.
yeah, that's dope, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, what's funny is that at the time, like in 2012 or something, I remember like classmates of me being jailbroken, but I was not jailbroken because I wasn't allowed to, because the iPod I had was like not mine, it was my father's, and he was like, "No, don't do that."
Today in the US, it's the Super Bowl. It's a big deal for a lot of people. It's Super Bowl Sunday. So this is like the jailbreak version of that, because it's like there were, you came in here, Opa, and I was not, like I said, thank you so much for coming in here and for taking the time to talk with us. And I honestly, I don't know if you'd be open to it, but I would love to be able to sit down and talk to you at maybe like another point in the future and kind of schedule it out and sort of try to, build out some questions to, specifically to ask you.
Yeah, seems fine. I would say we can do it some point after Dopamine 2 is released.
Oh, that would be a good idea. Definitely. Yeah.
Like, thank you very much, Opa, and all the other developers who are working on this. You're giving all this stuff for free to us, and we're really grateful. And please do not retire from the Jailbreak community. Please stay a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every time you make a tweet about anything, like, is it like stressful when you see tons of comments and everybody's like, oh, okay, well, where's the jailbreak and where's this and this and that? And like, does it get stressful for you?
Not really because of that. Like, I'm at the point where I don't have the Twitter or X app installed on my phone anymore. It's not because of notifications, it's just because of the home tab and me getting distracted there for like minutes or hours because of dumb shit I read. So it's like, I just removed the app so I don't get distracted.
Besides jailbreaking, like, what are things you like to do? Like, what do you do for fun outside of jailbreaking? Like, are you a gamer? Do you like to go fishing, walks?
I go on walks and I sometimes game, yeah.
What's your console of choice, or do you do PC?
I have a PC and I have a Nintendo Switch.
Nice. There you go. Somebody said, could you ask Opa what's the biggest celebration he's ever had developing anything, like discovering a unique bug or exploit?
I mean, on public stuff, I would say definitely Dopamine, but like Dopamine 1. But besides that, there's obviously been something here and there, but nothing I can speak about.
Right. Someone asks, what is the origin of your name? I assume like your username.
I think it's time to explain it in like a more international audience type thing, because I mean, I used to have like a Minecraft YouTube channel, and
oh wow, that's cool.
But that was like in German, and I believe I spoke about this like before. But okay, so it was 2011, and a school friend of mine and me wanted to like brief a Minecraft server, and we were playing on like some cracked private server where we were able to like change the username, and we were playing under our real names. And then we wanted to like join the public server, and then I had to come up with a different username. And the first thing that came to my mind is this one. It's not well thought out. Like Opa just means grandpa in German. So Grandpa334 to come up with like a different name. And then in the end, we actually like played on the server. And at some point, I also like just stuck with the name basically.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. That's actually really interesting. Very quickly take questions from speakers. So if you want to request, make sure to do it, because we're gonna do that.
I'm pretty sure you probably won't or can't answer this, but folks like that have taken a step back, are some of these people still helping make these jailbreaks happen?
No. QWERTY is like part of the TechRain team, but not really active. But I know he wrote like Pongo OS.
Right.
But like in public contributions after that, no.
Right.
Yeah. Do we know what happened as far as the TechRain stuff is concerned? Because it kind of felt like when we tried to make the sort of community-wide effort to switch to rootless, at some point TechRain just kind of like the team just kind of like fell off, and then at some point we had Palrain, and that was kind of the new checkmate stuff. So I'm wondering, like, I wonder what happened with the TechRain team there.
I mean, I can tell you what happened, but I can't go into too many details. Like, so basically, many of them lost interest, but there's still people interested. But yeah, I can't say more than that.
Yo, so Opa, so every day, how much do you work, like from work and then on like jailbreak stuff?
So right now I'm on part-time and I'm basically not working. I'm just doing jailbreak stuff. But at some point soon I will switch to full-time, and then I will have significantly less time for jailbreaking.
Okay, cool.
I just have one question. Is there any update on iOS 16.6 on A16? But now I have TrollStore and I'm pretty happy with it.
No exploit, no update. But I mean, we do have a PPL one day from Linus that we could like reverse and re-implement. But the problem is it needs a pack bypass to work, and we don't have a bug bypass.
If someone was interested in entering the iDevice hacking scene or hacking in general, just security research in general, what would be your best advice on what they should know? That's a good question.
The advice I would give regarding that is like, start somewhere and keep going. Like, a lot of people start and then they fail and then they're like, okay, I'm too dumb for this or something, but that's actually not true. Like, I believe what I'm doing doesn't require like being smart, it just requires being persistent. And just when you fail, just try again, basically.
There you go. Just keep at it. Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. There we
Do
go.
you know what happened to Pound 20 Owned?
No.
There you go. I'm going to add a couple more people, and then we probably will need to wrap up at some point soonish.
Yeah, seems fine. Like, let's do like 15 more minutes at max.
Awesome. Yeah.
Hey, Opa, I know you say a lot of the work you do is working off of other people's vulnerability, released proof of concepts. Have you personally ever discovered a 0 day?
Yes.
I didn't know you were going to just straight up answer that. I figured you were going to like say, oh, I can't really say. You just straight up said yes.
I mean, it's so unspecific that I can't say it, but anything more than that, I cannot say.
I got you. Because if you give it away, it's not a 0 day anymore, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not even like it was a 0 day, but it's patched. So it doesn't matter.
Is there a potential that you might make this public for people who are interested in the research side?
Unfortunately not, no.
Well, Opa, thank you so much, man. I'm going to get out of here. But, man, thank you so much for what you do for all of us, for the entire community. And, man, I hope we can keep you around for some time. If Apple ever makes you an offer, let us know. We will go fund me or something.
Unfortunately, I don't think that that's anything that the community would be able to match. That's like, we're talking like a lot of money if Apple were to approach anybody, I assume. But then again, I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but that's just my assumption.
I don't know. I've heard their bug bounty program is pretty shoddy.
Well, but that's their bug bounty program. That's not saying, hey, we want you to like come work for us for our security team.
Right.
That's two different things.
Well, I mean, let's hope that they miss this one and we get to keep him around for a while. And again, Opa, thank you.
We're going to take one more question, then we're going to wrap up. So take one more question.
I got a question.
Right, I guess Liddell's the last question. What's up, Liddell?
What's next for you, Opa? Like, what's after Dopamine 2? Like, do you have any other side things that
maybe
you
he wants
do
to
or
just
work on?
I think he probably wants to just like relax on a beach somewhere.
Well, obviously that, but I'm talking about like, what is something that you do besides jailbreaking that, like, do you have any like side gigs that you do just for you, or something that you want to just do just for you?
I can't think of anything right now, but like, I guess after Dopamine, I will definitely take a break, and I will also like soon transition to working full time again. So, yeah, I mean, I probably like, so the idea is to have Dopamine in a state where maintaining it doesn't take too much time, basically, so that I can like just have it as a small side project, basically, and not like a main project going forward.
One more quick one that I did see as I was scrolling on Twitter. This is random, but someone just said, is Opa a Taylor Swift fan? I mean, that's random.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even really know Taylor Swift, to be honest. Like, I know the name. I know that she's like a musician or something, but I don't know more than that.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, one thing that I see here, any chance Opa will ever update Safari Plus? I don't know.
The problem is right now, Safari Plus is in a lot of debt, basically. Like, it was never updated for iOS 15. And if I were to update it, I would want to update it for 16 and 17 as well.
Right.
So maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. Like, it depends on whether I find the motivation someday to work on it again or something.
Yeah, I totally understand that. All right, well, I think we're going to start to wrap up now. So I appreciate everyone for coming in here and asking some questions. Opa, I very much appreciate you, man, for taking the time out of your day to talk with us and sit down and have a conversation. Like I said, I appreciate everyone for joining and for tuning in. And Opa, like I said, thank you so much. Thank you so much to Alfie and Dora and to everyone else in here. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate you coming on here. And thanks to everyone else that spoke and had questions. And thanks to everyone for listening as well. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for everything that you do for the community.